Okay, Juana, if you'd like to go first, take 3 from Brussels, and then we'll see if there's any questions here, and then back to you.
We'll start in Brussels with Europa Press.
Thank you, Commander. Ana Pisonero from the Spanish news agency Europa Press. Can you confirm that you already have at least 8 helicopters that could be for your disposal, 4 from France and 4 from UK? Can we get a confirmation if they are or not under NATO command? And what kind of operation, attack operations, precise attack operations, are you going to use these helicopters for? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your question. I am pleased to receive, and I welcome the efforts of both France and the United Kingdom in providing us additional assets to continue our campaign. These helicopters, it is our intention that these helicopters will be operated under Unified Protector mandate and therefore under NATO command and control. I will exercise command of those forces. We're still in the process of developing their capabilities, and they will be brought into action as soon as they are ready, as soon as I'm satisfied that we have done all of what we need to do to ensure an effective and aggressive yet safe mission for the population as well, and truly focused on attacking those forces that are dedicated to bringing violence. Thank you.
DPA.
Thank you. Alisa Melini for DPA, the German press agency. The aim of Unified Protector is to protect civilians, as you said. I was wondering, do you keep a tally of how many civilians were accidentally killed during the operation? And also, I think one of the previous times you talked to the press, you said that you had taken out 30% of the Gaddafi forces. I wonder, do you have an updated figure for that? Thank you.
The action of Unified Protector have definitely severely impacted the regime's ability to bring threat to the population, and we continue with that. As far as numbers, I will let my team provide you the numbers after, as far as these counts. But I really must caution against doing such numbers analysis in and of themselves. A force have got capability. It has got command and control to bring them, give them the directions they require, but also there's the will of the people that are actually doing the killing. And I look at all of those areas when I look at the force. So in terms of numbers, we've significantly attrited the force, and I will provide you the numbers through our own team here in Naples. But let me remind you that while this campaign started with some 900 tanks and thousands of air defense and artillery pieces and armored vehicles, and this is not whether 50%, 20%, or 80% is left, as much as 5 tanks in the Misrata area against unarmed civilians can do the damage. So at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about the effects, and the effects is to bring an end to the population, to violence against the population. But on that note as well, we have taken kinetic activities on those, that has been ably reported by your teams. But on that note as well, it's important to understand that our campaign here, which is a comprehensive campaign to get us to the mission, to accomplish the mission we've been given, but also include non-kinetic means, methods through which we want to encourage those troops who I strongly believe do not want to bring any more violence on their people, and to encourage them to put their arms down. We have dropped leaflets in the Brega area, and as earlier this week, we also dropped leaflets in the area of Tripoli, aimed at the troops that are causing that, to encourage them to drop their weapons and to leave the area and to stop the violence. Because our aim is to bring in a total solution that brings kinetic activity, but also non-kinetic activities. I believe that those pamphlets have been made available to you, and it's certainly they are straightforward, and they were seen by the population and also by the military in the Tripoli area. So that's the part I understand. With regards to your first question, as to the number of people, 1 life is too many lives lost, from my perspective. So at the end of the day, these statistics here again, the way I look at it is the suffering that's taking place, because it's not only in terms of casualty, in terms of deaths, but also casualties in terms of the psychological impact and the damage that has been brought to the population, to women and children who will be affected for years against this violence. I do not have exact numbers of the casualties in the area because, in fact, our main source of information in terms of casualties in the area are provided by the media that is present in those areas.
Italian press agency.
Yes, hi, Marisa Solani from ANSA, Italian press agency. Just 2 days ago, the Italian Premier, Mr. Berlusconi, said that according to some information that Italy has, the son of Gaddafi was not killed as reported. I am wondering if NATO has some independent report, some confirmation of this piece of news. Thanks.
I do not know the status of Gaddafi, of his family, because this is not of my area. My focus is on the command and control, the logistics, the supply chain, those troops that are directly involved in killing civilians, both directly and through indiscriminate fires, laying mines, both at sea and on land, and oppressing the population. Our mission is to bring a stop to that. Our mission is to bring some space for diplomacy to take place, for political intercourse, and create a situation that will enable the people of Libya to decide their own future.
Mike, we'll go over to you in Naples for the next questions.
Back to the helicopter, Apache and Tigers that you will have under your control from British and French forces. If you can say something more about how much time you need to get them ready and where they will go to Misrata?
You're asking me for a few details that I provide you an outlook, a look into my campaign. But as far as the future activities, for security reasons, which you will understand, I will retain the right not to share that at this time. But as soon as they are brought in, we will make sure that as soon as the strikes are taking place, we will keep you informed, as we have done with all of our airstrikes and other maritime activities as well. Thank you.
Back to you, Juana.
Reuters.
I've actually got, David Brunstrom from Reuters. I've actually got a question really for the Brussels end of things. I mean, it's in the context of the arrest of Mladic. I wondered, and also in the context of the current mission in Libya, I just wondered what lessons have been learned by NATO from Srebrenica, and whether it's fair to judge that NATO failed in its responsibility in Srebrenica to protect civilians, or was that the responsibility of individual member states or the United Nations?
David, that was a United Nations mission at the time, but I think what happened in Srebrenica, the worst atrocity in Europe after World War II, shows us how important it is to protect civilians who are under attack by their own authorities. And that is exactly what the mission is today, and NATO has acted much, much faster than it was able to in the 1990s to rally consensus and to start this operation under the mandate of the United Nations to protect civilians in Libya. In the 1990s, it took NATO months to decide to intervene in the Balkans. This year, it took NATO days to set up Operation Unified Protector in support of the people of Libya and of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1973. So that is one clear lesson, that timely action is effective action. Yesterday, when we heard the news of the long overdue arrest of Ratko Mladic in Serbia, the Secretary General strongly welcomed that news. It puts an end to one of the bloodiest and darkest chapters in the history of the Balkans and in the history of Europe. It allows for justice to be done, and it also allows the whole region to move forward towards Euro-Atlantic integration, which is what we all want to see. And of course, NATO, as a guarantor of peace and security in the Balkans for the best part of the last 2 decades, strongly endorses that goal and supports it. Finally, you could say that the arrest of Ratko Mladic also sends a broader message, an important message, that international justice will be done. And it is a message for others who may be attacking or planning to attack their own people to think twice. Wall Street Journal.
Stephen Fiddler from the Wall Street Journal. General, I'd like to ask about the helicopters, whether the fact that they have been sent in was at your request, or whether it was an initiative of the member states concerned. What capabilities they provide that you can't field at the moment, and whether there are other assets that you'd like to see in the nearer term to further help you in the campaign.
Very good. Well, initially, there was always a request for helicopters. I don't think you will ever meet a commander that will not ask for all of the possible capabilities that are available. I consider their arrival now being timely, and to help us to continue the targets that we're engaging, and soon we will have more pictorial representation of the challenge that we're facing, is an additional capability to pinpoint exactly these vehicles that are much more difficult to see from high altitude, from the aircraft of high altitude. And these helicopters are under NATO command and control, and we will be working together. This is not about just working with helicopters, but also working and bringing synergy between maritime activities, being air activities, and aviation helicopter activities, that is brought together and really bring more synergy, or continues to bring more synergy to the situation and to enable to complete the mission. So I'm quite pleased with the support that we're receiving, and I look forward to see these helicopters joining us to complete this work. They have a specific capabilities, but their capability will be used in a comprehensive manner with our entire campaign plan. If I may, Juan, if you'll allow me, one point on the lessons learned from my perspective. We have indeed learned many lessons from the other places that NATO has been operating. And we have used these lessons, the lessons from the Balkans, the lessons in Afghanistan, the lessons in the Mediterranean, in the Med. We are using all of these, and learning these lessons, in fact, has enabled us today to respond in the manner that we have and to bring the success that we have reached. So we are building on previous success, we are learning from others, and we're applying those in every way that we do. And therefore, I have no doubt that such lessons were learned at a strategic level, but also at the operational and a tactical level, and they are being applied daily. Thank you.
German television.
Kai Niklas from German television, ZDF. General Bouchard, are there any situations thinkable where these helicopters will be able to put troops on the ground? Do you think there might be situations like this and that are covered by the mandate? Because, well, it is known that these helicopters normally also provide the ability to put boots on the ground.
My mandate is very clear. My mandate, which is provided by the NAC and through SACEUR at Supreme Headquarters Allied Powered Europe, and in JFC Naples, no boots on the ground. In fact, the helicopters that are being provided to us are armed and attack helicopters, and they are not the type that do mass movement of troops on the ground. And it is not my intention to put boots on the ground. These are helicopters that will be used as another tool in a toolbox to continue to allow us to meet our mission.
We'll see if there are any more questions in Brussels. AFP.
Général Pascal Mallet, Agence France Presse. Who is in charge of demining Misrata area? Because I thought there were some kind of NATO standing force, standing naval force for demining British and the Belgian ships, counter mines ships. So can you explain to us who is in charge and who started and when?
There's two parts of the mining. One is the mines that we found this morning that were laid on the ground, anti-personnel mines. We do not have, NATO does not have troops on the ground, and this situation is developing as we speak. The first part in demining is to find out where they are, cordon the area, and obviously appropriate people will deal with that, but this is not our mandate as we do not have troops on the ground. With regards to the mine that were at sea, 3 of them were at sea, and these mines were dealt with by NATO maritime forces. From my perspective, this is a NATO operation and we have a NATO team, and every member of this team provides actions and support to this point. And therefore, from my perspective, I'm more concerned that our team works under the NATO banner than the national banner. And therefore, I would suggest to you, sir, that NATO forces demine these maritime mines.
AP.
General Don Melvin, Associated Press. Earlier this week, the French Defense Secretary said that the will to continue was not infinite, and he expected the campaign to be successfully wrapped up in weeks rather than months. Do you share that assessment?
This is a difficult question. If I knew the answer to that, I certainly would appreciate that very much. Really, the decision is to reach the effects and to meet the directions as have been provided in the following the Berlin conference. Troops, the violence has stopped. Forces, ground forces have been moved away from built-up area into containment area in a place where we can conduct a verifiable ceasefire and a verifiable monitoring of all military forces that have gone back, and finally to ensure that there's unimpeded movement of humanitarian assistance. The timeline of this effort from our perspective is we will continue, and I can assure you we are fully committed every day and every night and across the entire front in Libya to bring this situation to an end as soon as possible. But the ultimate decision lies in the Gaddafi regime and their acceptance that democracy must take place, that it is not acceptable to use their military to harm their population and population center. So I remain optimistic that we will see a response soon, but when, I cannot tell you that. We are committed, though.
And I can also tell you that was very much the feeling around the council table this morning from allies and partners. They have been restating their commitment to the mission until the Berlin goals are fulfilled. We will see this through, but obviously everybody would want to see this job done sooner rather than later. But it is not just a military mission, it is part of the broader international effort to find a political settlement to this crisis, because there can only be ultimately a political solution. I think we have one last question in Brussels, and it's back to German television. Thank you.
Let me just pick up that point. Kai Niklas again from German television. There was an agreement when the mission started that it would last 90 days, 3 months. And do you think you could solve the problem or the military problems you have to solve in this framework? Do you have any signals, any reports that Gaddafi is getting nervous now that you have the East more or less under control and that you are progressing so well the way you have described?
There's no doubt in my mind that the regime is feeling the pressure of our successes and that we have reached some significant effect in reducing the violence against the population. But here again, there remain a significant amount of forces albeit much less than there was on the 31st of March, but there's a significant amount of forces. As far as my timelines are based on effects to reach the objective that the NAC has given us. And this is what my timelines are, and perhaps I will turn over to Juana for further comment with regards to the question of timings.
Indeed, the standard planning format for this kind of operation is a 90-day template. This is the template that has been followed for Operation Unified Protector, and the North Atlantic Council needs to formally extend the mission. As I was saying earlier, we are currently reviewing the effects of the operation, and that's what allies and partners are doing and will continue to do. The review will go to the North Atlantic Council in good time. Allies will then decide how to go forwards. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Naples. Thank you very much, General.
Thank you very much, Oana. Thank you very much, all. We remain committed to achieving our goals, our objective for a better future for Libya. Thank you very much.